Well, what is going on, Patriot Gardeners? It's your buddy Murdock. And today, we're back for our third adventure with strawberries. That's right. We've got first video and second video posted up on YouTube so everybody can check it out. This will be the third video in which we plant some of our more mature strawberries into a little planting bed for their permanent home. So, in our first video we showed you where we take a strawberry and slice it nice and thin, place it on a paper towel or a paper plate, let it dry for about 3 days, scrape our seeds off, and then we get a whole bag of seeds. Looks something like that right there. And then we plant them in a little cup, cover them up, and about 8 to 10 days later, we start to see this happening. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Look how precious. See, there's a little guy right there starting to pop up. After about the 10-day mark, we take the cover off and we give them some air, let them do their thing. After about 3 weeks, we transplant them into their own individual little cups here. And that's where these guys come in. After they have been in these for a little while, we take them out and we put them into a permanent home. And tonight we're going to be discussing the most critical thing you can do to literally get 10 times the amount of strawberries out of your plants. And it's not hard. It's not something you got to really try hard at. It's just the setup for your berries. And it actually has a lot to do with the soil. So we will cover that here. We've got some of these guys that are a little bit more mature that are grouped up in the cup. They're actually the same age as these guys here, but they are ready to come out. So I have taken the liberty of going ahead and separating one of those cups and getting the berries all pulled apart. Check these out. Isn't that awesome? That is from store-bought berry, just like that, from seed to this in just a very short time. And they're going to, like I said, be going in their permanent homes today. And then we're going to cover what you need to do to get these guys to really, really start producing. So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to take these guys, and if you look right there at my fingertip, just below those leaves, is what we call the crown of the berry. Right there, that little tiny ball. You do not want to plant this berry any further than that. So when we put it in the dirt, the soil here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up with my finger as I'm pushing the dirt down very gently around it and underneath it. Let me see if I can get a better view of that. And I'm actually going to take my fingers and I'm going to go around the berry just like this. And I'm going to make sure that I don't have it too deep. I want that soil level right at the crown of the berry. And just about like that. And that guy's good to go. And so we're going to go ahead and come over here and grab another one and lift it up. And with berries being how they are, I mean, you're going to lose a few roots when you go ahead and do this and separate your plants and stuff. It's going to be okay. In the soil, as we discussed in one of the first videos when we were mixing our soils, we included a pro mix or a sunshine mix, a aggregate professional growing mix that contains mycorrhiza. Now, if you remember from that video, mycorrhiza literally translates to fungus root, and it is the fungus that will communicate with the roots of your plant and help it to absorb nutrients and prevent it from transplant shock. So now we got berry number 2 in there. We're going to come over here. We're going to get this guy right here. And these things have just done amazing. I really am taken back with how well they've done. So even when you drop them like that. So let's go ahead and get him in here before we drop him. And like I said, drop him in the hole, lift him up, and you want to push the dirt around and underneath the base of the plant. And I use my fingers. So I just reach around the plant like this and just kind of pinch underneath the strawberry to make sure that it's lifted up nice and high. And then take my fingers and just go around the berry just like that. And let's grab this guy here. I mean, this one really did a marvelous job. Look at the roots that came out of this thing. Just amazing. And that mycorrhiza is actually going to prevent your plants, or not totally prevent them, but it's going to do a great job of helping your plants in dealing with any kind of transplant shock and getting them off to a really, really, really good start. So let's make sure we get this guy seated. Push down around the base of our plant, making sure that crown is nice and right there. That's our crown. And we do not want that thing to go below the ground. So just like that, and we're good to go. Now we are going to be mulching these guys with some straw once I get them outside. I'll spare you guys the details on that. But they are called, I'm going to be using straw hay. And I prefer to use straw hay as opposed to a grow mulch or anything like that. With the berries, I think it does a better job of preventing thermal induction in the soil and causing the soil and root base to get too hot. And plus, they are called strawberries for a reason. If nobody had figured that out, they actually do very, very well in old piles of rotting straw. So here's our last guy we're going to put in here. And then, like I said, we're going to lift him up. We're going to get the soil around, give him a little lift up. And sorry about the camera if it's shaking around, but I wanted to make sure that we got some good angles and stuff like that on this. All right. And check it out. We've got a couple little stragglers. These little tiny guys that run underneath. So, no man left behind. So what are we going to do? We're going to take our finger, poke a hole right there. Grab this little guy. Throw him in there. Stand them up. Good to go. Go right in between these two. Grab the next one. And as we learned in our second video, it is okay to transplant them when they are this size. It is okay to transplant them when they are this size. That's how big these guys were when we did it. And look at how great they're doing now. Awesome. So, we'll get they're very resilient plants. They actually are a little frost resistant, although I would not test that with tiny little babies. I would let them get a little bit more mature before I put them directly out. I would still go through the process of hardening the plants off a little bit at a time. So, even this little guy right here. And while we're getting these last couple little guys going, I'll throw you guys some strawberry facts that you may not know. Did you know that the leaves, the roots, the stems, pretty much every single part of this plant is medicinal? That's right. Not only is this a very tasty thing to have around during the zombie apocalypse, but it also serves many, many other purposes. There we go. And here's another cool fact. In the United States, do you know what state and in what county is the strawberry capital or produces the most strawberries in the United States? If you didn't know, as I just found out today, which was actually quite a shock, It's Searcy County, Arkansas. It's actually the town of Marshall, Arkansas, which is a very, very special location, as I've been talking about it for a little while, but I just found out today exactly why I was so drawn to do so many strawberries, and it didn't make any sense, really. I mean, I like strawberries and all. Maybe I was thinking the neighbors wanted some or whatever, but sometimes you get pointed in a direction and it's screaming right in your face and you don't even know it. Well, let's just say I got the message loud and clear, 10-4. So, that being said, I'm going to show you guys the absolute top secret. Gotta promise you'll never tell. Actually, I want you to tell everybody you know, so everybody can grow as many fruits and vegetables as they can. But for these strawberries, there's a couple little things you need to do here that are going to make them, like I said, explode, grow 10 times more. All of your friends are going to be so jealous. Like, how did you make a whole pie out of one strawberry plant? Well, the first thing we got to do for these guys, in loving memory of old Alabama gardener, is water it well and watch it grow. So we're going to hit these guys with a little bit of water, make sure that their root base gets wet so that they get a little juice. And if you don't have one of these right here, a water bottle with pin needles in the top of it, the holes for the watering indoors, oh, you got to get one. You got to make one of these. It is the best little watering can you'll ever have in the garden. It's perfect for everything. You can use it on these little delicates. I mean, it's pretty good control. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on to that top secret thing. So, let's see. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see how we do. Whoa, that was absolutely amazing. It actually worked that time. So here we are outside, and this right here is going to be the secret to your success. It's your soil. What you put these plants into is going to determine what they produce for you. If you want to put a bunch of, just average Joe dirt in there, you're going to get average Joe berries. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to show you what I do and the mix that I've come up with here. And the way these berries grow and the production rate is just going to absolutely blow your mind. So if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm a big fan of the Kellogg product, not to be mistaken with Kellogg's. But what we're going to use is a little bit, maybe about 15% of our sunshine mix here. We're going to throw in about 25% of our Kellogg's Patio Plus, about maybe 10-15% of our perlite, a couple handfuls of our all-natural garden soil, and this stuff is actually meant to be used in ground, but just a couple handfuls of it will substitute for compost, which is what I'm using it for here. You can see it there in the center. There you can see the mycorrhiza mix, the Pro Mix, the sunshine mix that we have right there with the mycorrhiza that I've been talking about. Really, really, really good stuff. And so you're going to mix all this stuff in, some perlite, and the last ingredient is going to be some of the Kellogg organic raised bed and potting mix. This stuff right here, it's pretty good, and that's going to make up about 50% of our mix. I'm also going to add about 2 cups of our Pure Gold organic and natural all-purpose fertilizer. It's just a 2-2-2 mix, and any slow release fertilizer will do. You're going to get this all mixed up. And here's another little trick. When you do berries and most plants, instead of using rocks, which add a bunch of weight and bow down the bottom of your planters, try using old chunks of wood to fill up the bottom. It's kind of like the raised planter method, but just in the plastic. It's a lot lighter. Your plants will appreciate it, and the decomposition will aid in the strawberries producing. And after you get everything all mixed up, get this all nice and mixed up, wet down, this is what you get. This really rich organic mix. The perlite allows it to drain. It has plenty of food to feed the plants. It's going to have material that's going to continuously decompose. The mycorrhiza is going to be introduced, is already working in this, I guarantee you, and starting to look for a plant to identify with and work symbiotically with to feed. You can literally almost grow anything in this if you really wanted to. I mean, you can use this for tomatoes. It's a little airy for tomatoes. I would probably drop the perlite and the sunshine mix, maybe like one handful just for the mycorrhiza introduction. But I would go with the raised bed, the garden soil, and the patio plus for the tomato, and then the fertilizer as well, just because they'd want something more meaty. Strawberries really like a rich organic kind of a substrate, and this stuff you can see here, it just, oh wow, this is going to be absolutely just amazing for those berries to grow in. Well, Patriots, I hope you enjoy, and I hope your berries do well, and I hope everybody got the Searcy, Arkansas drop there. Until our next gardening venture, love you all. God bless. Murdock out.